What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie. Today we're revisiting another bootleg of Frank Zappa. This is Puttin' on the Ritz, a bootleg of a radio broadcast from November 17th, 1981 at the Ritz in New York City. It is available. I found it on YouTube. It's on streaming services. You can buy it on Amazon as a 2-disc set. It is, for the most part, a complete show, though there are some edits, and I'll explain those in a couple minutes. But it is, I think, I've never sat down and ranked all of Frank Zappa shows like I have hundreds and hundreds of boots. I've never gone down and thought like these are like the top 10 shows. But as far as like sound quality, performance, band, set list, special performances, one-time performances, this may easily rank up there as one of like the 10 all-time great Frank shows. Like, I think if you were to put that in your top 10 list, this show, I don't think anybody could like be like in any way like think lesser of you. This is a quality performance. Halloween 81 was a box set that the Zappa Family Trust released a couple years ago. And it's a very interesting release because the 81 tour, especially November, is thought of as one of Frank's like best overall outings as far as the band, the performances, the guitar solos. And that box set is pretty interesting because you have 3 shows. You have the early Halloween show, which kind of feels like the first half of the tour. Good songs, good performances. The guitar solos aren't really stretched out. The Halloween show kind of feels like a turning point. Kind of feel like maybe this band is finding its foot and special things are waiting for us. The November 1st show, the final show, is like, oh shoot, this band can turn it up a notch when they want to. And I really think that that Halloween set is the literal turning point of this tour. And while I think the best shows are probably in like from 11-10 on, or from a week after the first, I think it takes us like a week to fully get up to like full kick butt mode. That November 1st show on the Halloween 81 box set is a turning point. The turning point is heading towards something as absolutely ridiculous as this show. So it's the 81 band. We got Tommy Mars on keys. This is his, and 82 would be his last tour. He's been around since fall 77. We have Steve Vai on tour. He would do this tour 82 after he'd been around since the previous fall 80. This is Wackerman and Scott Tunis's first tour on drums and bass respectively. Ray White is around. He would be around for 82 and 84. And then Bobby Martin, this is his debut tour. We have 2 special guest appearances that pop up on the encore that elevate this from being a stupidly fantastic show to really almost a one-of-a-kind performance. And of course, we have Zappa on lead guitar and vocals. So it is the complete show, though there are the only really juicy moment I think is missing is the opening treacherous Cretin solo. We get the vamp, and then we get like the minute into the first song, but the solo is not there. So we're missing the solo. And this was a radio broadcast, so I think the sound is great. I think there's a particularly good punch to the bottom end. Tunis's bass comes through exceptionally. The drums come through. Ed Mann's percussion comes through really, really well. So there were some really key moments on here. Or key performances, and Tunis particularly. Like, yeah, man, Tunis and Wackerman together particularly. I think I don't know. Just the drumming, the rhythm work, especially with Ed Mann on percussion, is fantastic. So we get a complete show, but there are some things edited out. So like the treacherous Cretins is missing in the opening solo, which is sad, but you get so many other fantastic solos that you don't really care by the end of the show. You Are What You Is has an edit. The edits are all pretty good, but the You Are What You Is edit comes after the first verse, and after the first verse, they cut out the second verse and they go straight to the I ain't no more when he says that word, which doesn't make any sense at the tail end of the first verse, but that's just the way this edit goes. And if you don't know the song and if you're not paying attention, you kind of don't know the edits there. You Are What You Is shortened. Heavenly Bank Account is shortened. They cut out a whole couple verse or two there. Suicide Jump is not cut. Maggio is shortened by quite a bit. Quite a bit on Maggio. Let's see. Those are the only ones. Oh, Doreen is cut, is shortened. Trying to grow a chin. I don't think Trying to Grow a Chin is shortened. This is one where Scott Tunis is on vocals, which is pretty interesting. I think they just did like the really shortened version without the like ending because they go into Strictly Gentile. I don't remember. I don't think it is shortened. I think that's the way they performed it. And yeah, and for the most part, you get everything else intact. And you get some of Frank's best guitar playing. In fact, I would say every single guitar solo is a guitar solo that you almost need to hear because they're all Frank at his most aggressive, exploratory, interesting best. The rhythm section, Tunis and Wackerman, are just providing just ridiculous support. He does a little bit of everything throughout the show, so you get all the different flavors. The first solo is Easy Meat. You get your typical sort of floating in water, like Easy Meat is a very static solo. I always think of, I don't think the Easy Meat solos generally go anywhere. It's almost like you're in a pit, maybe like you're in a room and you're playing dodgeball, but you're never out until the entire time you're ducking and moving and balls are flying past you and you're trying to hit people, but you can't escape this sort of round room that you're in. That's what Easy Meat sounds like. It's almost like a Star Wars movie where like it's a bunch of stormtroopers and they're shooting their blasters at the walls and the laser beams are shooting all over the place and they're just trying to duck around them. Easy Meat is chaos, but it's not going anywhere. But it's beautiful. It's incredible. So we get a fantastic Easy Meat solo. We get a great Dumb All Over solo that's absolutely fantastic. We get 2 Drowning Witch solos, one of which is on, I think it's the first solo on the actual Drowning Witch album. In fact, while we're on that point, there's a number of things from this show. So we know Frank actually recorded this show, despite it also being a radio broadcast. Frank must have recorded this show because the first Drowning Witch solo is released on Drowning Witch the album, right? On Drowning Witch the album? Yes. The Zoot Allure solo is the truck driver divorce solo or part of the truck driver divorce solo from You Can't Do That in Stage anymore. Is it Stage? Yeah, from You Can't Do That on... No, it's actually the truck driver divorce solo from Them or Us. So Frank took the Zoot Allure solo from this show, put it as the truck driver divorce solo on Them or Us. The Stevie Spanking, the basic tracks were used on Them or Us. Clowns on Velvet, the basic tracks were used on that album, along with Ike Willis with the Potato Head, F-Fish, T-Fish. Yeah, so we had that stuff was officially released by Frank. So we know Frank has recordings of this, though I'm not sure we need to have this released because this is a pretty good sound quality show. So anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the Drowning Witch solo is used. Both those solos are good. We get a great What's New in Baltimore solo. A pretty good Bamboozle by Love solo. The Bamboozle by Love solo, all of a sudden in the middle of it, it sounds almost like Tunis and Wackerman go into this like reggae type thing where like we're starting to hit, like we get into the solo and all of a sudden in the back you're like this boo-doo-doo-boo, boo-doo-doo-doo, almost like this reggae type ska type thing that they drop into while Frank's just like tearing it up right on top. The bass kind of just, they get down like bumpy on the bottom. Really good. Like this is probably like my least favorite Bamboozle by Love era because we're missing Denny's hardcore slide. We're missing that 84 Owner of a Lonely Heart vamp, 88 Owner of a Lonely Heart vamp. But Tunis and Wackerman are saving the show for this Bamboozle. They are just bringing the whatever it is they bring. Sinister Footwear has a fantastic show solo. Stevie Spanking, we get a Vi and then a Frank and then going at a fantastic solo. Black Page 2 has the Them or Us solo, that vamp, that vamp, the one on Them or Us. That solo is absolutely fantastic. I wrote on a webpage 25 years ago, back when the internet just started, on a CompuServe hosted page, that Frank didn't really, that these these Black Page number 2 solos were excellent, but they really didn't reach their chaotic peaks until 82. Nah, man. This one, I'll put this one with 82. Any 82 Black Page solo as being up there as far as bringing the Black Page number 2 energy. And then we get a Zoota Lure solo, which Frank would use part of for the truck driver divorce solo. We get a whipping post at the end, and we get a watermelon and Easter hay. So, like, you can't complain in any way about the set list as far as guitar solos go. Other than that, you have a pretty much your standard 81 stuff. And I would say that the performances on this, if you compare just like the way the Montana is played, or just the energy in the Mud Club, or just the energy in something like the Strictly Gentile, particularly the way the rhythm section attacks the Strictly Gentile. If you compare these performances with the ones on Halloween 81, there is so much more, I don't want to say life because those aren't dead performances, but there is just so many little moments of tweaky weirdness that the band is doing because they're at such a top level and they know these songs so well by this point, and Frank gives them the freedom to be creative at times, and they are really just like, every song just has a little bit of an extra step or a little bit of an extra tweak or something in it that just makes it so much more compelling. And it's a radio broadcast, but you can still hear all of Ed Mann's awesomeness and all the weird things Tunis is doing. And Wackerman is just fantastic. And so even Tommy Mars and the stuff he's doing, really good support throughout the show. But you get a lot of typical 81 shows. So the actual set list of the first disc: Treacherous Cretins, Montana, Easy Meat, You Are What You Is, Mud Club, Meek Chill, Hear Nothing, Dumb All Over, Heavenly Bank Account, Suicide Chump, Jumbo Go Away, Envelopes, Drowning Witch, What's New in Baltimore, Maggio, Bamboozled by Love, Sinister Footwear. Disc 1, almost perfect, right? And the solos are fantastic. Disc 2, Stevie Spanking, Cocaine Decisions, Nig Biz, Doreen, Goblin Girl, Black Page number 2, then we get to the encores, Trying to Grow a Chin. I think that's the encores, yeah. Strictly Gentile. And then after Strictly Gentile, it was supposed to be the second encore break. But Frank's like, just pretend we went off stage, because when we finally do go off stage, we're never coming back. Then the moment, the two moments that elevate this show from S to S++. Two of my favorite moments in all of Frank. And I do kind of wish these would be officially released, because I'm not sure how many people are going to go out of their ways to find a bootleg. But we get the first ever live performance, there would be, I think, 5 more in 82, of Clowns on Velvet. Frank would use this performance as the basic track for the album version, with guest guitar player Al Di Meola, ladies and gentlemen, Al Di Meola. And apparently this was not ever released because Al Di Meola was not happy with his guitar solo and did not want it released. But it is an Al Di Meola barn burner. It is nothing like the way Frank plays. It is full-on shred mode. The band is ridiculous. It essentially is The Song as We Know It, an extended solo by Di Meola, in which the band, and Frank must be conducting them because there's parts where they like stop, and then Di Meola shreds, and then they come back, and then they stop, and Di Meola shreds. Ridiculous energy. And then we go back and essentially get like a reprisal of the song. And it's probably some of the best 7 minutes of music Frank has ever played. And I don't even think Frank plays on it anywhere. I think it's just the band with Di Meola. Then they call out their roadie, because apparently Christopher Cross, who was huge at the time, San Antonio native, thank you very much. I'm not a San Antonio native, but I live in San Antonio. They cover Christopher. He was supposed to play with the band. Apparently he was going to do it in LA. That never happened. And so they bring out Brian the Roadie, and they do a cover of Ride Like the Wind. Doo-doo, doo-doo, bum-bum. It was the night my body sweat something. I'm on the run, no time to eat. I don't know what the words are. I got to ride. But they play that with Brian the Roadie singing it, with Di Meola sticking around and bringing a guitar solo. And I don't know. I like the song Ride Like the Wind. I love this performance. The fact that Di Meola plays on it, the fact that Brian the Roadie sings it. It is just, I don't know. Clowns on Velvet, Ride Like the Wind, magical. Then Frank tells Steve Vai to get out a sitar. They do a Zoota Lures. fantastic suit of lures. They do this cover of this 50 song called This Is My Story. Then we get a whip and post. Then we get a watermelon and Easter hay to close out. A must-hear show. A fantastic show. The sound is good. The performances are epic. Like, if this did not exist as a bootleg that is available on streaming, I would urge the Zappa Family Trust to release this. This, though, is evidence in the case that they need to release a November show. Like, there's a whole bunch of November shows, maybe even a December show from 81. And even though we have that Halloween box set, I do think if they did a bunch of just single 2-disc, maybe 3-disc, 2 discs, probably I don't think Frank's shows run more than like, what is that, 160 minutes, 2.5 hours? I think a 2-disc 81 set, even if the set list is similar to this, the guitar solos are so good. And this band really does get weirder as it comes on, and just they start to flex their skills and their powers just a little bit more. It's a special, special show, and I highly recommend that you get it. Yeah, Puttin on the Ritz, people. Check it out. Oh, I'm ranking like things, right? Yeah, I think am I ranking the Meet the Boots? I'm not ranking the Meet the Boots. I'm just telling you to go out and get the boots. This is a great one. Out of the ones I've talked about so far, I think this might be the best of the boots because this show is so fantastic. But I don't think I'm going to rank those. I'm just going to let those be. Maybe one day when all this is done. But anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Go check this out. And if you're not interested in listening to the whole show, just find it on streaming or on YouTube and listen to the Clowns on Velvet and to Ride Like the Wind, because those are special, special moments. Subscribe, like, share, tell a friend. Go listen to music, people. Go listen to all the music.